You know something strange about the most intelligent people? They are rarely the loudest ones in the room. They are usually the quiet ones in the corner, watching everything unfold calmly, while others compete for attention. Psychology has a name for this. Silent intelligence is a form of deep, steady thinking that does not need applause or performance. In this video, you will discover 10 signs you might already carry it within you. Most people were taught to measure intelligence by speed, grades, or loud confidence. But genuine cognitive depth rarely looks like any of those things. It moves quietly, carefully, and almost entirely beneath the surface where few people ever think to look. The first sign of silent intelligence is that you observe far more than you speak. While others fill silence with words, you fill it with watching. You notice tones, expressions, and shifts in energy that others completely miss. This is not shyness. This is strategy. Silently intelligent people instinctively understand that listening gives you more information than speaking. Every room is full of signals. Talking too much means missing most of what is actually being communicated around you. Psychologists call this reflective observation. Research links it to higher cognitive processing speeds. The brain that pauses before responding collects more information, catches more nuance, and ultimately arrives at better conclusions than the brain that simply reacts immediately. In daily life, this shows up as someone who remembers what you said weeks ago, who notices when your tone shifts slightly, and who understands what you truly meant even when you chose the wrong words to express it. There is something powerful about a person who watches before they speak. They enter conversations already knowing things others will never bother to notice. That quiet advantage is not luck. It is the result of a mind paying full attention. The second sign is that shallow conversations quietly drain your energy. You can sit through them. You can smile and respond politely. But conversations that never go beneath the surface leave you feeling strangely empty and disconnected from people. This is not arrogance. This is neuroscience. Highly intelligent brains are wired to seek depth and meaning in stimulation. When conversation stays entirely on the surface, the deeper processing centers of your brain simply never activate or engage properly. Research suggests that people with greater cognitive complexity naturally gravitate toward conversations involving ideas, emotions, and meaningful questions. Surface-level interaction does not engage their minds in any real way. It leaves them feeling understimulated and quietly restless inside. You are not antisocial. You are meaning-hungry. When a conversation finally touches something real and honest, you come alive in a way that small talk about weather or daily routines will simply never produce inside you. The third sign is quiet skepticism. When someone says something with great confidence, you do not automatically believe them. You hold the idea at a careful distance. You privately ask yourself whether what you just heard is actually true. Most people accept information because the speaker sounds certain or seems important. But silently intelligent people feel a natural inner friction when something does not quite add up. That inner resistance is not stubbornness. It is a genuinely working mind. Psychologists link this to epistemic curiosity, the brain's hunger for truth over comfort. People who regularly question accepted information and resist taking things at face value consistently demonstrate significantly stronger critical thinking skills in research environments and real life. You are not the kind of person who argues for the sake of it. You simply cannot turn off the part of your mind that keeps quietly asking whether what you just heard is actually, truly, verifiably real. The fourth sign is that you spend a significant amount of time inside your own head. You replay conversations from days ago. You examine the same question from multiple angles, even when everyone else moved on to something else entirely. This is not overthinking in the clinical sense. This is deep processing. Your brain is not satisfied with a surface understanding of anything. It wants to find the roots, the implications, and the hidden connections that most minds never bother to seek. Neuroscience has a term for this. Elaborative rehearsal is the process of mentally returning to information and turning it over repeatedly. People who do this naturally develop stronger memory formation and more sophisticated pattern recognition than those who simply move through experiences quickly. Your rich inner world is not a distraction. It is your greatest thinking tool. The quiet hours you spend turning an idea over in your mind are often more productive than anything loud or visibly impressive happening around you. The fifth sign is that you feel things very deeply, but say very little about it. On the outside, you appear calm and steady, but inside you are processing emotions with an intensity that others would never expect or suspect. This is not suppression. This is a different and more complex relationship with feeling. You experience emotions fully, but you have discovered, usually without consciously choosing to, that not everything you feel needs to be immediately performed outwardly for the world. Research in emotional intelligence confirms that holding emotional experience internally before expressing it is a genuine marker of psychological maturity. The person who sits quietly with a feeling is not cold or distant. They are in real and deliberate control. The words you eventually choose to express something carry real weight, because you did not speak first. You thought, you felt, you processed everything carefully, and only then did you say what actually needed to be said at all. Now consider this for a moment. Every time someone called you too quiet, too serious, or too much inside your own head, what if that was never a flaw? What if your mind was simply working somewhere others could not follow? The sixth sign is a sharp internal radar for things that do not add up. When a story has gaps, you notice. When someone says one thing but their tone suggests another, you feel it quietly and almost immediately. Psychologists call this pattern recognition, and it is one of the most reliable markers of high intelligence. Your brain continuously scans conversations and environments for inconsistencies. It is not suspicious thinking. It is simply how your mind was built to operate. Researchers found that people with higher analytical intelligence process social inconsistencies faster and more accurately than others. They do not just hear what is said. They track the gap between what is said and what is actually real underneath. You have probably been told you read too much into things. But reading deeply is not paranoia. It is a genuine cognitive skill. And in most cases, what you quietly noticed was exactly what was actually happening just below the surface. The seventh sign is that you prefer depth over breadth in everything you pursue. You would rather understand one thing completely than know a little about many things. Surface answers frustrate you. You want the roots, not just the appearance. This is mastery orientation. Silently intelligent minds experience genuine discomfort when their understanding remains incomplete. That pull toward full comprehension is not perfectionism. It is a real neurological drive that keeps pushing you to go further and deeper into things. Cognitive research consistently shows that high-intelligence individuals lean toward deep understanding rather than broad but shallow knowledge collection. Their brains reward depth with a kind of satisfaction that skimming the surface of any subject simply cannot produce for them. This is why you spend hours on a single idea when others have moved on. Why you ask one more question when the room considers the topic finished. Why you stay quietly uncomfortable until the thing finally makes complete and total sense. The eighth sign is that you are unusually comfortable sitting inside uncertainty. Most people rush to resolve confusion quickly. They need any answer just to feel certain again. But you can hold open questions patiently and without anxiety or urgency. Psychologists call this tolerance for ambiguity. It is not common. Most minds close open loops quickly to reduce discomfort. Staying genuinely curious inside unresolved questions requires a level of cognitive development that most people around you simply never fully reach. Research links higher intelligence directly with comfort around unresolved questions. The simpler mind needs immediate closure. The deeper mind understands that reality is often genuinely complicated, and that holding a question open with patience is itself a profound form of wisdom. You are not confused by not knowing. You are actually comfortable there, because you have understood that the most honest position for a thinking person is often to remain open rather than to perform a certainty you do not genuinely feel. The ninth sign is that you are your own harshest critic. You replay conversations hours after they end. You question whether you handled something the right way. You hold yourself to invisible standards most people around you never even think to set. This is not low self-worth, though it can feel that way sometimes. It is metacognition. It is the rare ability to observe your own thinking from outside yourself, identify clearly where it fails, and feel a genuine drive to correct it. Psychologists consistently find that highly intelligent people are far more aware of their own cognitive errors than people with average intelligence. This constant self-awareness is deeply uncomfortable to live with, but it is exactly what drives real growth across an entire lifetime. You are harder on yourself because you can see yourself more clearly than others can see themselves. That level of honest self-examination is rarer and more valuable than most people who have never experienced it will ever truly understand or appreciate. The 10th sign is the one that keeps you awake at night. Your mind simply does not know how to stop. In quiet moments, ideas arrive uninvited. Your brain keeps generating questions and connections even when your body wants to rest. This is not anxiety, though it can sometimes feel similar. This is what happens inside a brain genuinely wired for deep processing. It does not idle. Thinking is not something you choose to do. It is simply your default state of being. Neuroscientists at the University of Sussex found that people who score higher on intelligence assessments have significantly more active minds during rest compared to others. The brain that cannot stop is not broken. It is simply a brain that never stops working. There is a real cost to this. Sleep becomes harder. Silence feels louder than it should. But buried inside that cost is a genuine gift. A mind that cannot stop is a mind that keeps discovering something new indefinitely. Come back to where this began. You know that quiet person in the corner who watches everything, but says very little, who speaks carefully and reveals almost nothing. They are often carrying an intelligence the world never pauses long enough to recognize. Silent intelligence does not perform for anyone. It does not compete for attention or announce itself with confidence. It simply works quietly and consistently in the background of a life that most people standing nearby will never fully see or understand. The world was built to reward loudness, speed, and visible certainty. But the most profound thinking in all of human history has always happened in quiet rooms, during long solitary walks, and in the still private moments between one thought and the next. If you recognized yourself anywhere in these 10 signs, you are not too quiet. You are not too serious or too lost inside your own head. You are simply someone whose mind works at a depth the world has not yet learned to see. Silent intelligence is rare, and it is completely real. The question is not whether you have it. The question is whether you are finally ready to stop apologizing for the quiet, curious, and relentlessly deep way your extraordinary mind moves through the world.